My dad transferred $10 to me to buy a mobile phone. My girlfriend was furious when she found out. She asked, "You spent $10 to buy a mobile phone. And you bought it to play games. Right? Can't you spend more time with me when you have that time?" My best friend's boyfriend always uses the worst ones himself and gives the best ones to his girlfriend. Look at you. I haven't even changed my phone yet. Why should you buy a new phone? I looked at her strangely and asked, "Your best friend's boyfriend is your best friend's boyfriend. What does it have to do with me? I spent my family's money. What does it have to do with you? Why can't I buy a new phone?" My girlfriend was speechless after being rebuked by me. Unexpectedly. Later, I returned to the dormitory and found that my phone was missing. So I called the police directly. My girlfriend was visibly panicked. My dad transferred $10 to me to buy a mobile phone. And I bought an Apple 16 Pro Max. My girlfriend and I went to pick up the express delivery together. Jessica picked out the phone from several packages at a glance. She looked at the label and pouted, asking, "Why did you choose black? I don't like this color." I didn't think carefully about what she meant and replied casually, "As long as I like it. It's my turn anyway." Jessica was furious, regardless of the fact that there were many people at the express delivery station. She directly scolded me loudly. "Why did you buy such an expensive phone? Why can't you learn from my best friend's boyfriend? He hasn't changed his phone for many years. Look at you. I haven't even changed my phone. Why do you buy a new one?" She emphasized the word, myself, very much. But before I could think about it, she continued like a machine gun. "And do you know how difficult it is to make money now? My parents only make $4 a month. Why do you say you can change your phone?" I looked at her strangely and said, "Your parents make $4 a month. But it doesn't mean that my parents only make $4 a month. Your best friend's boyfriend doesn't change his phone. But it doesn't mean that I can't change mine. I spend my family's money. What does it have to do with you?" The express station was full of people coming and going, and their eyes instantly focused on her. Jessica's face turned red. She opened her mouth to say something, but when she realized that she was being watched, she threw my box to the ground, turned around, and left. Jessica and I parted unhappily. At night, Jessica kept sending me messages, but I ignored her. I sat in front of the computer desk, staring at the documentary with lifeless eyes, and couldn't sort out the chaotic thoughts in my mind. Jessica is my junior schoolmate. She is pure, pretty, sweet, lovely, and has a very good relationship with others. We have been together for 3 months and are in the honeymoon period. Except for this quarrel because of the mobile phone. We didn't notice any problems. My roommate in the next bed, Victor, looked at me several times. When I looked back, he quickly put away his mobile phone. His eyes were full of resentment, as if I had done something to let him down. I was annoyed by the way he didn't say what he wanted to say. So I asked him directly, "Is there anything wrong?" Victor shook his head but paced back and forth by the window. Suddenly, he pointed outside and shouted to me, "Richard, Jessica is waiting for you downstairs." I walked to the window and looked down. It was drizzling outside. Jessica was standing in the rain in a short skirt. The ends of her hair had been wet by the rain and slightly stuck to the side of her face. She looked up and saw me. Then she raised the small cake in her hand and smiled at me. The smile was so sweet that it made my heart distressed. I hurried downstairs to hold an umbrella for Jessica. Jessica hugged my arm and apologized softly. She said, "Brother, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have lost my temper with you." Without waiting for me to speak, she continued patiently, "Brother, I don't mean to blame you. It's normal for you to buy a mobile phone for yourself. But there's really no need to spend so much money on it. If you don't believe me, ask your roommates how much their mobile phones cost. If you do this, people will think you are showing off your wealth." I was a little shaken because the mobile phones used by my roommates were indeed not expensive. Jessica continued to say softly, "Brother, I really love you. You are the person I want to be with for the rest of my life. It's because I want to marry you that I persuaded you. It's not easy for parents to earn money. We should be more considerate of our parents and not waste it." I thought of my parents who go out early and come back late. I was a little convinced, but I wanted to test her again. So I asked, "Then why don't I return this one and get you a different color?" Jessica smiled very happily, showing an expression that you finally got it. She couldn't wait to reply. "Okay, husband, you finally figured it out. Think about it. If it gets out that you use a good phone, But your girlfriend is still using an old phone. How will people look at you? They will think you are stingy and not like a man. At this moment, my mind immediately became extremely clear. Look, it's a waste to spend this $10 on us men. It's inconsiderate to your parents. But if you spend it on a woman, it's called being generous and not stingy. Isn't this a double standard? Jessica wanted to continue the topic of mobile phones, but she could only temporarily put it off because she saw that my face was not right. Back to the dormitory. My roommate Darius hadn't come back yet. I had just taken off my coat when Victor suddenly sat up from the bed and said to me out of the blue, "A girl asked me out for dinner." His eyes were slightly proud, as if he was showing off to me. I was speechless and said perfunctorily, "That's good. Then congratulations." I walked to the bathroom to wash my face and saw that my roommate Darius's towel was worn out and he hadn't thrown it away. There was really water in the shampoo. I couldn't help but doubt myself. After thinking about it, I called my dad. I explained the whole story in a few simple words. My dad's tone suddenly improved. He asked, "Son, tell me what you think first." I felt a little confused. And I said, "She said that I felt very uncomfortable wasting the family's money. But my roommates are indeed very frugal. It doesn't seem right for me to spend $10 on a mobile phone." My dad said cautiously, "Son, first of all, every family is different, and we can't demand complete equality in this regard. If we define all those who spend a lot of money as showing off their wealth, then everyone except those who spend the least is showing off their wealth. Secondly, your father is fully capable of providing you with such a life. A mobile phone worth $10 is a reasonable level for our family. Not a waste. My father is telling the truth. Not to mention my mother. My father alone has 2 restaurants that make money. For him, spending $10 to buy a mobile phone is a normal expense." My father went on to say that it would be of no use to the family if you saved this $10. "Our family does not need you to live frugally and plan for the future." I thought about financial management and company dividends in my account. And this $10 is also a normal expense for me. My father finally said lightly, "Mom and Dad work hard just to make you a rich second generation without suffering." I was very moved, said goodbye to my dad, and then called my brother. My brother laughed when he heard it. He said, "Are you crazy or just blinded? You actually found a gold digger like this and still talk about waste. What does waste have to do with her? Why didn't she tell Jack Ma not to sit in first class? Economy class saves money. Let's be real, isn't it because you're her boyfriend? She thinks you should spend all your money on her. That your money is her money. So if you don't spend it on her, it's a waste. You're just dating. But she acts like she's at a loss if you don't spend on her. After you get married, will she demand you transfer all your houses and cars to her name? What right does she have to interfere with the money your parents gave you?" I said her best friend's boyfriend gave all his money to her bestie. And she felt very unbalanced. My brother said bluntly, "What's the matter? She also likes her best friend's boyfriend? Then why don't you just let her be with him? You should tell her that your best friend's girlfriend bought him a car and a house. Let her buy you one too." I thought what he said made a lot of sense. I planned to start calling him my bestie from now on. After hanging up the phone, I had already made up my mind. But it was difficult to break up because Jessica was very popular and there were many potential risks like Fei Yangyang. If I didn't have a good reason, I would face endless public opinion warfare. There were still 2 years left in college. And I didn't want to live under criticism. Jessica didn't know I was planning to break up and still dated me as usual. We walked on the Lover's Bridge by the lake. And she said happily, "Brother, can we fly kites and check in at scenic spots this weekend? It's just that my phone isn't working very well right now. So the photos I take aren't very good." After Jessica said this, she looked at me expectantly, blaming the phone for bad photos. She was clearly hinting. I was speechless. I knew she was waiting for me to offer to buy her a new phone. So I deliberately changed the subject and said, "I'm going home this weekend. Maybe next time." Jessica paused, looking a little unhappy. I pretended not to notice. She suppressed her emotions and took my arm intimately. I immediately got goosebumps. Then she said, "Husband, your family gives you a lot of living expenses every month, right? Since I'm going to marry you in the future, why don't you hand over your living expenses to me from now on? Let's save money together for the betrothal gift and get married when we've saved enough." She added, "I'll give you pocket money on a monthly basis in the future." I instantly felt very disgusted. This was originally my money. Why should I hand it over to her and then receive pocket money back? Why should I live a life controlled by someone else? I pushed Jessica's arm away and firmly refused. I can save money by myself. I don't need your help. Jessica asked angrily. You can save money to buy such an expensive phone. But have you ever thought about our future together? I directly retorted. That's my money. I save it when I want and spend it when I want. That's all. Jessica pursed her lips and said, It seems you don't believe in me at all. And you don't love me either. I didn't want to deal with her anymore. So I turned around and walked away. I had barely taken 2 steps when I suddenly heard a shout behind me. I looked back and saw Jessica half leaning out from the bridge. If she moved a little further, she would fall into the lake, and she couldn't swim. I hurried back and grabbed her arm. My anxious expression must have satisfied her. The joy in her eyes told me that she was just testing my feelings. I hurriedly said, Get down first. If anything happens, I'll be blamed. Jessica pretended to jump several times to scare me. I pulled her back hard until a passerby came over. Feeling embarrassed, Jessica stepped back. She was clearly satisfied with my reaction and smiled. Now you know how painful it is to lose me. If you love, you must cherish me. In the next second, I swung my arm and slapped her face. With a crisp sound, Jessica covered her cheek in disbelief. Before she could react, I had already run away. After returning to the dormitory, my scalp tingled. It's one thing to be materialistic. But why did I feel like she wasn't mentally normal? My roommate Darius saw that something was wrong and asked me what happened. I simply said a few words but concealed the river jumping incident. Darius looked full of doubt and said, She's pretty outrageous. Darius rarely spoke badly of others, especially girlfriends. For him to say that showed Jessica was really out of line. Victor had been silent, but suddenly said, If a man really loves a woman, he will willingly give her money to manage. He looked at me meaningfully and added, If a man isn't willing to give money, what kind of man is he? I finally understood. No wonder Jessica always knew about me. There was a simp in the dormitory. I didn't bother arguing. I just agreed perfunctorily. You're right. Victor felt like he had punched cotton. Seeing Darius and me ignore him, he slammed the door and left. Looking frustrated, Jessica never contacted me again. And I ignored her too. I was worried I didn't have a good reason to break up. But unexpectedly, when I returned to the dormitory on Monday, my new phone, worth over $10, that I had placed by my bedside was gone. I called Jessica directly and said, Jessica, did you take my phone? Jessica snorted and said, Yes, I took it. I couldn't reason with her. She said, Tell me, where can you find a boyfriend like you? Stingy and mean. You don't care about your girlfriend's feelings at all. Victor in your dorm is much better than you. I sneered and asked directly, Where is it? She said, Don't want that one. I don't like the color. I've already sold it. I was disgusted and speechless. I said, You should know that taking someone else's property without permission is stealing. I'm giving you 2 hours to return it. Otherwise I'll call the police. Jessica questioned me instead. Why are you insulting me by saying I stole from you? If you hadn't refused to buy me a new phone, would I have taken yours? You must apologize to me, or I'll never speak to you again. Ha, so it was my fault she stole something? I refused to waste time arguing with a fool. I hung up and called the police directly. Hello, I want to report a theft. My phone worth over $10 was stolen. It wasn't until I saw the police that Jessica realized I wasn't kidding. She questioned me in disbelief. Is it that serious? Just because of a phone? You're going to call the police to arrest me? I answered firmly. That's it. The police tried to persuade her. If you took your boyfriend's belongings, just return them. Couples shouldn't let things get so bad that they can't end it peacefully. Jessica denied it without blinking. I didn't take his things. Don't wrongly accuse me. I almost laughed out of anger. The call recording was played directly. Jessica continued arguing with the police. She said unreasonably, I said I didn't take it. So I didn't take it. How could a girl like me enter the boys' dormitory? Another voice, exactly the same as hers, rang out in the recording. Well, I took it. It's useless to reason with you. Just tell me, where can I find a boyfriend like you, stingy and mean, who doesn't care about his girlfriend's feelings at all? Victor in your dormitory is much better than you. The police looked at Jessica with strange expressions. Jessica's face turned red. She rushed over and tried to scratch me, cursing, "You're so despicable that you actually recorded it." Before I could react, the two policemen restrained Jessica, pulled her aside, and lectured her. Jessica still didn't think she had done anything wrong. She said, "I'm his girlfriend, so what if I took his things? If he had agreed to buy me a mobile phone, I wouldn't have needed to." Jessica said righteously, "How could there be such a selfish person as him?" A policeman couldn't help but raise his voice and said, "You can't take someone's belongings even if you're their girlfriend. If the value exceeds $2,000, he can report you to the police. Besides, it's his money, he can spend it however he wants. You have no right to interfere." Jessica glared at me angrily but was speechless. The two policemen sighed deeply and asked me what I wanted to do. I made a direct request: within an hour, either return the items to me or pay me back. The police persuaded Jessica to return the phone. Jessica was silent for a while before saying, "The phone has already been sold." The police said, "Then return the money." Jessica was speechless as the police kept pressing her. Finally, she admitted, "I used the money. I sold his phone and bought myself a new one." I sneered. Jessica glared at me and said, "Do you really have to make such a big deal out of this small amount of money?" Obviously, she had stolen the items but was trying to blame me. I showed her the call recording and said concisely, "Pay back the money, or I'll let your friends hear this too." Jessica stared at me gloomily and silently called around to borrow money. She had a good relationship with many flatterers and managed to borrow the money within a few calls. As soon as $10 arrived, I immediately placed an order for a new phone in front of her. Jessica blushed and said meaningfully, "You will regret this." I curled the corners of my lips slightly and said to the police officers, "As you can see, she's now threatening me." Jessica was severely punished by the police. Looking at her, I met Jessica's eyes and mouthed silently, "Bring it on." Darius and I returned to the dormitory at the same time. He was carrying several express boxes. He said, "I thought these looked expensive, so I hurried to bring them back to you." I opened them and saw the gaming books and some supporting equipment my father had sent me. The Sennheiser headphones alone cost $5. Victor was peeking beside me. I closed the box and looked at him. He shrank back onto his bed silently. I didn't know what he was up to. Just as I was about to call my father to thank him, Jessica called first. I glanced at Victor's direction and picked up the phone. Jessica questioned me hysterically, "Your family did this on purpose, right? Just because you're rich, you think you're great. A pair of broken headphones costing $5? And you're still arguing with me over that little money? Richard, you're really amazing. Do you think a man like you deserves a girlfriend? Don't think you're something special. You're just trash to me, selfish and stingy. I must have been blind to fall for you." The corners of my lips curled slightly. Jessica was this furious because I hadn't let her take advantage of me. She had broken down. I smiled and said, "How should I put it? I'm just spending a little money to get rid of a beggar." I wasn't willing to spend a penny more on her because she simply wasn't worth it. Jessica was so angry that she was jumping up and down on the phone, screaming and cursing. I shushed her and said, "We haven't even finished with the last matter yet. Aren't you afraid I'll record this too?" Jessica instantly fell silent. All I could hear was her angry breathing. I said coldly, "Jessica, by not sending you to the police station this time, I've already let you off easy. From now on, let's go our separate ways. If you don't want to embarrass yourself, don't mess with me again." Jessica cursed bitterly, "Go to hell, you lowlife," and hung up. The dormitory fell into silence. Darius looked at me sympathetically. I threw my phone onto the table with a thud. Victor leaned out, jumped off the bed in one step, put on his shoes, and tried to run out. I stepped sideways to block him, grabbed his collar, and punched him hard in the face. Victor wailed and flailed his arms wildly, shouting, "Let me go. What right do you have to hit people?" Darius shouted, "Don't fight," and squeezed between us. Trying to calm things down, I pushed Darius aside, grabbed Victor's collar again, and shoved him against the bed frame. I said coldly, "Why did I hit you? Don't you know? Otherwise, why would you try to run away?" Victor shouted, "Let me go." "Darius, you're just going to stand there and watch him hit me?" Darius calmly said, "Brother Richard is very reasonable. Just talk it out." Victor almost went crazy. I punched him again and said, "You acted fast. As soon as I got the items, you tipped off Jessica. What? Are you into her? You can pick up the trash I throw away. But if you ever touch my things again. Victor stubbornly said. I didn't touch your stuff. I sneered. You didn't? Then how did Jessica get my phone? Victor denied it again. It wasn't me anyway. I laughed in anger. Still stubborn. Huh? Should I pull up the surveillance footage? A flash of guilt crossed Victor's face. He kept silent, his expression stiff. I patted his face lightly and said, You don't need to admit it. But just know, whoever touches my stuff will suffer horribly. Victor was furious but had no words to argue. I said coldly, Behave yourself from now on. If you cause trouble for me again, I won't let you off so easily next time. I let him go. Victor gasped for air, glared at me fiercely, and ran out. I called my father and told him that Jessica and I had broken up. My father sighed and patiently explained, Son, to be realistic, I don't actually mind if a girl is a little materialistic. But you should spend money on a woman because you want to. Not because you have to. Do you understand? A girl like Jessica, let's not talk about her character. The key is that she is still foolish. She has only been in love for a short time. But it's natural for you to spend all your money on her. Why? Dad tries his best to provide you with good material conditions so that you can live comfortably. Not to support you or sustain your ancestors. Nor to alleviate poverty. Of course, Dad supports poverty alleviation. But I don't want a woman to use you in the name of love to make our family undertake targeted poverty alleviation. I would rather donate money to the Red Cross than give a penny to such a woman. I listened quietly to my father's heartfelt words. He continued, It's normal for people to be materialistic. But if this girl were not foolish, she should understand that when you ask others to provide value, you should also provide corresponding value. Instead of just asking for it from a superior position. If she could do this, my father would not think there was anything wrong with it. But obviously, your girlfriend is not like that. I had to remind her. Dad, she's my ex-girlfriend. My father laughed out loud and said, Remember, never give up your principles because of others. A sycophant will end up with nothing. You can spend money, but it has to be worth it. After hearing these words, I was really moved. Sure enough, it's my parents who love me the most. Victor ran away and didn't come back all night. Darius was a little worried and called him before lights out. But he hung up directly. I calmly advised him not to worry. He had somewhere to go. Darius looked at me puzzled and I handed him the phone. A classmate sent me a photo. Jessica walked into the hotel with Victor's arm around her. Maybe they were affectionately saying bad things about me together. Darius's face was a little dark. He frowned and said, You just broke up with Jessica. Normal people can't do such a thing as Victor. My roommate just broke up and he went to check into a room with his ex-girlfriend. Darius is an upright person. He is more disgusted by this matter than I am. Victor came back the next afternoon and we ignored him. Soon, my phone seemed to explode. Messages kept ringing. Darius called me and said, Richard, hurry up and check the group. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Jessica posted a short essay in the group. Although she didn't mention any names, everyone knew that she was talking about me. Jessica said in the group that she advised everyone not to fall in love with a selfish man. This kind of man only has himself in his eyes and will never think about others. He only knows how to ask for things but not how to give. In the 3 months together, I gave a lot for him. I chatted with him, stayed up late with him to play games, and took care of him when he was sick by bringing him porridge and medicine. He said he liked long hair, so I grew long hair for him. I gave my time and feelings. His family is rich, so he can buy himself a mobile phone worth $10. When we usually date, she asked me to pay for the milk tea. I was very sad in the past 3 months. And I also saw him clearly. Maybe I am not good enough for him. So we had to break up. I am speechless. I won't say anything else. I treated her to a movie, a meal, and a ride in the amusement park. What does it mean that she also included the money she treated me to for a cup of milk tea? A lot of people in the group comforted her and blamed me. Many sycophants said, This kind of man is really too selfish. There are all kinds of birds in a big forest. Don't be sad. Yan Yan. I wish Yan Yan can get out of the sea of suffering today. Yan Yan is really a good girl. She will definitely meet a man who knows how to cherish you. Jessica complained in the group. She posted, This is how society is now. It is really unfair to women. The employment market discriminates against women. which leads to men earning more money than women. But whenever women ask men for some money, they are accused of being gold diggers. Women really have it hard. Women have to give birth to children and do housework. What about men? Men don't have to worry about the daily necessities. They go out to earn some money and think they can boss people around at home. If you buy something to reward yourself, they will say you don't know how to manage the household. They say you are a spendthrift and always bring up the high price of the bride price. But what can that bride price do? It's not even enough to hire a nanny. This is society. This is reality. Jessica's speech won the support of most girls and some sycophants. Along with the support came overwhelming accusations against me. Everyone thought I was too stingy and selfish. I bought a mobile phone for myself but didn't buy a new one for my girlfriend. I squinted my eyes. I didn't expect Jessica to be so foolish. I had warned her a long time ago to part ways amicably and not force me to turn against you. Darius said calmly, "Richard, you'd better not respond, because there are too many girl fighters in school now. And Jessica has a good relationship with the opposite sex. No one dares to speak for you. Just wait a few days until the heat goes down." Victor has been looking at his phone and laughing since just now. When he heard what Darius said, he immediately agreed. "Yes, you'd better not speak." I didn't miss the faint smug light in his eyes. They don't know that after I called the police that day, I secretly filmed the whole process. Jessica's face was filmed by me. I looked at the insults in the group and laughed, and decided to let the bullet fly for a while. The king bomb always has to appear at the important moment, and the harmer will eventually be retaliated. The rumors are getting more and more intense and have not died down because of my lack of response. It seems that someone is fanning the flames. Once, Darius and I were returning to the dormitory from the library and met a strange female classmate. She said in a sarcastic tone, "Richard, please treat me to a meal." The other party's eyes were provocative and contemptuous, and it was obvious that she was deliberately looking for trouble. I smiled and replied, "Would you like to eat?" This kind of inexplicable things are happening more and more in my life. Jessica and Victor are together in a high-profile manner. They hold hands sweetly and go out in pairs. Victor gave Jessica a fruit gift box. Every segment of the grapefruit in it was peeled, and the pomegranates were crystal clear. He looked like a good boyfriend who was filial to his parents all the time. They also took photos and posted them on WeChat Moments, which received a lot of envy. Some classmates secretly harassed me below. That person commented, "Yan Yan is a really good eater." I have to say that a love-brained person is the best dowry for a man. Unlike some stingy men. I saw this WeChat Moments post. Richard is a gay. He is a couple with his roommate Darius. Besides, he is not some rich second generation. It is said that he borrowed money from online loans and borrowed from Peter to pay Paul. He has been in debt for a long time. He pretends to be nothing every day. In fact, he relies on pretending to be a rich second generation to trick girls into having sex. Sisters must be vigilant. I just find these contradictory rumors funny. I calmly look at the group chat. Those people seem to have made an appointment to throw dirty water on me and the group. I don't believe there is no instruction from Jessica. Darius angrily punched and said, "Richard and I are gay. Right? Which girl can tell me? Do you want to verify it? Oh, is it you guys? Then I really can't verify it. I am a way Muslim." Darius is very sharp. He believes that the way to fight back against insults is to insult back. He doesn't dwell on the truth or falsehood of the matter but keeps attacking. He defeats 10 with one force and scolds those girls with reason and evidence so that they dare not say a word. I originally just wanted Jessica to suffer a little and become more obedient. Now I have decided to kill her. There were many posts praising Jessica on the school forums and in various group chats. Jessica's talent, beauty, and family conditions were half-truthfully praised to the sky. Classmates who didn't know the truth thought that Jessica was fair, rich, beautiful, and the daughter of a wealthy family. Jessica fell for it. She didn't show any vigilance towards these sudden flatteries, but happily acquiesced. She even belittled me everywhere, saying that Richard was just a fake rich second generation who relied on online loans every day to maintain his persona and might be faking it. I didn't get angry when I heard all this. I lowered my head to transfer the money to the person to settle the bill. I sent an expression of, "Keep up the good work," and the other party responded enthusiastically with, "Got it." Darius asked next to me, "What are you doing?" The teacher asked me to send this to you. He asked you to help him make a PPT. I smiled and answered perfunctorily. I'm chatting with a friend. I received the document. I had just turned on the computer when Victor came over to me and said, "Hey, why don't the other guys hang out with you?" Victor said, "Could it be that they believe you are gay?" As soon as Victor said this, I knew that this matter was inseparable from him because his look of beating a drowned dog was too obvious. Darius smiled and said, "If you don't want to meet, then don't meet. We've known each other for so many years. They can still believe such rumors. Which shows that their IQ is problematic. Making friends with such people will only make you more stupid." Victor was unhappy. He said, "Darius, what's wrong with you? You think Richard is rich. So you want to be his lackey, right?" Darius looked a little annoyed and said, "You know whether what I said is fair or not." Darius said this with confidence. He is poor but has never borrowed money from me. He earned his tuition and living expenses by working part-time. Victor was scolded and muttered unhappily, "Anyway, you are just speaking for him." Darius was too lazy to pay attention to him. I watched coldly as Victor opened the cabinet and made himself a box of instant noodles. Since Victor has been with Jessica, his quality of life has been greatly downgraded. Jessica would ask him for money at every turn, saying that she was hungry. Her phone screen was broken, and she had no clothes to wear. The perfume and cosmetics were gone. So Victor no longer went to the cafeteria. He gave all his living expenses to Jessica and ate instant noodles in the dormitory. He says that loving someone is like growing a flower. If you love her, you have to water it. Victor really believes it. He even boasted to us happily that Jessica gave him $40 pocket money today. I almost laughed out loud. The $4 was originally his, but now he was grateful to her for taking $40. Victor plunged into love. He even started to go out to work part-time and gave all the money he earned to Jessica. He boasted to me several times, "Oh, I'm going to start making money now." Jessica said that she would marry him when she saved enough money for the bride price. And then he would buy her a house. I never refuted him and watched him slowly slide into the abyss with cold eyes. Ever since Jessica made that value-oriented speech, many girls have started to admire her. So she often gets together with those people to criticize men with lowered heads. And every time she has dinner with her sisters, most of the money spent was the money that Victor saved for her. I estimated their expenses. It was no less than $2,000 each time. If it wasn't enough, I wasn't in a hurry. I was ruthless and could endure it. Victor was like a pile of cow dung, and Jessica was the flower inserted into his body. She kept absorbing nutrients and bloomed more and more beautifully. Later, Jessica didn't even leave $40 of pocket money for Victor. Every time he needed to eat, he had to apply to Jessica in advance. One time, Darius and I went to the cafeteria to eat and met Jessica and Victor. There was only one meal between them. Victor watched Jessica eat heartily in silence. When Jessica had almost finished eating, he took over Jessica's leftovers. This scene made Darius and me feel a little nauseous. Not long after, Victor became very thin. One night, Darius and I heard the sound of him getting up. Darius asked him, "Why did you get up so late?" Victor replied lightly, "I'll drink some water." He seemed very hungry and gulped down a lot of water. Darius could understand this kind of hunger and the experience of drinking water in the middle of the night. He said something extra. "You are hungry, right? I have some biscuits in my cupboard. Have some." Victor seemed to be furious. He reacted fiercely and said, "I am very full. I won't eat your food." He didn't even drink the water and fell asleep on the bed. I sent a message to Darius, saying, "Don't worry about him. A bootlicker doesn't deserve sympathy." Darius sent me a long list of complaints. He replied, "Do you think Jessica has put a curse on him? All the money on him has been taken away. He is still devoted to her even after he got clean. Look at what kind of life he is living now." I replied concisely, "He did it on his own terms. Don't meddle in other people's business. Be careful not to be blamed for it." Darius didn't speak for a long time. When I was about to fall asleep, he sent me a meaningful message. It read, "Richard, you don't understand. At that time, I had just entered college and my living expenses were not enough for me to eat." Victor pulled me over. I read the message sleepily and chose to respect him. I watched him hit a wall. Darius got out of bed and turned on the headlights. He moved a stool and sat next to Victor and said, "I want to talk to you." Darius took a mirror and gave it to Victor. Victor looked at him in confusion. Darius said bluntly, "Brother, look at how you look now. It's as if you've been sucked dry by an old goblin. How can you still look like a young man in his 20s?" Victor sat up straight in an instant and looked at himself in the mirror in disbelief. The more he looked, the heavier his face became. Darius went on to say, "Look at Jessica again. How comfortable she is living with your living expenses. Your parents worked hard to support you to go to school and gave you enough living expenses. Now you have to apply to Jessica for food. Are you sick in the brain? You don't really think that you and Jessica are in love like this, right? Have you ever seen a relationship like this? Let me take a step back and say that a man who loves a woman should spend $2,999 on her if he has $3,000 living expenses. But a woman who loves you won't let you spend so much on her. Jessica has dinner with those little sisters every day, and each meal costs hundreds or thousands. Do you really think that the money you gave her is to save for the bride price? Do you really not know where the money you saved went?" Victor was silent and didn't speak for a long time. Darius spent a long time patiently analyzing the pros and cons for him. Victor's eyes became clearer and clearer. I also listened attentively. I silently opened my phone and posted part-time job information with a good salary in the part-time job group. Darius said coldly, "If you really love someone, you won't be willing to give up your own man to liquor like this. Think about it yourself. Does she regard you as her boyfriend?" Victor sniffed and ate Darius's cookies. He said, "Thank you, Darius. I understand. I will go to get my living expenses back tomorrow." The next day, Darius and I went to class together. On the way, I met Jessica and her roommates and girlfriends. She was dressed in luxury goods from head to toe, with exquisite makeup and a flamboyant aura. Several girls surrounded her, and they all centered around her in their conversations and laughter. She looked like a rich lady. Jessica was full of pride. She glanced at me from the corner of her eye and deliberately said loudly, "Sisters, I'm treating you today, so don't be polite." Her sisters all cheered and applauded. Victor was anxious. He pulled Jessica, but Jessica avoided him with disgust. At this moment, a luxury car stopped by the roadside. The next second, a male classmate got out. He calmly called out to Jessica and said, "Hello, beautiful lady. Can I add you on WeChat?" Jessica's girlfriends immediately made meaningful noises. Jessica glanced at me sarcastically, as if to say, "See, you regret it now." I looked at her with a half smile, knowing that this would be the last highlight of her life. Victor rushed out of the crowd, pushed the man away, and said, "Get away from me. She's my girlfriend." The man was not happy about being pushed, and the two sides started arguing. Darius and I watched Victor fight with that man. Darius was stunned. Jessica frowned tightly, as if she disliked Victor's embarrassment. She left Victor and turned away. Darius wanted to go up to help, but was also pulled away by me. Victor and Jessica reconciled. Jessica called and scolded Darius. "You're disgusting. It's okay for you to disrespect women and be single, but you also want to lead Victor astray. Go to hell, you lower man." Darius was furious. He tried to persuade Victor with good intentions, but Victor sold him out. He went to confront Victor, but Victor asked him coldly, "Are you attracted to Jessica and want to steal my girl?" Darius was speechless. He was so angry that he couldn't eat for several days. Victor was getting crazier and crazier. He was originally just a bootlicker, but now he has cuckold phobia. He stands by Jessica with a bared tooth like a mad dog every day, staring at all the men who get close to Jessica. He works harder, starts working 3 part-time jobs, and gives all his money to Jessica. The library is quiet and cool, and there are people studying everywhere. I took a sip of coffee comfortably, looking at the information I got from the chat box, and guessed that Jessica is now making interest and should have borrowed about $300. She can't pay it back. I stretched myself. It's time to reap the harvest. Jessica has been showing off in school for several months. And finally, a post suddenly appeared on the school forum. A junior named Curtis, who was blocked on WeChat, posted a thread asking Jessica to pay back the money. His thread recorded in detail how Jessica had borrowed money from him several times, such as his mother was seriously ill, his father had passed away, and he had used up all the money he could. He also posted chat records and transfers as evidence. As soon as this thread came out, it went viral. More and more people replied, saying that Jessica had also asked them to borrow money. These people had never even met the goddess, but were willing to be exploited by her time and time again. Some of them even borrowed money from her and lent it to her. I smiled as I watched Jessica and her best friends quarreling with the creditors. There were also many people speaking for Jessica. After all, Jessica had been a money-giving boy for several months and had accumulated some good relationships. I dropped the bomb at the right time. Another thread appeared on the forum, directly accusing Jessica of stealing things. The thread read, "Hello everyone. I am Jessica's ex-boyfriend Richard. The reason why Jessica and I broke up was because she instructed my roommate to steal my phone and sell it for money. I released the video of the police scolding Jessica to prove that what I said was true. The following is written. Jessica is popular and good at stirring up emotions. In the past few months, she has been threatening me and making up rumors about me, saying that my roommate and I are gay, and that I relied on online loans to pretend to be rich to trick girls into having sex. This has caused serious damage to my reputation. I posted some pictures of Jessica and her bestie who spread rumors about me that I saved in the group chat. And wrote below, after several months of hard work, I have collected evidence and will sue Jessica. I have hammered Jessica to death. Her good reputation is ruined. Everyone knows her true face. Everyone wants to spit on her. No normal person would steal a boyfriend's phone if he doesn't buy one for her. Jessica's reputation is ruined, and she has a huge debt explosion. Now no one is willing to lend her money. Her funding chain is broken. Debt collectors have bombarded her phone with calls. Victor's phone, her parents' phone, and her friend's phone. Her parents rushed to the school in a dusty manner, knelt down in front of the school leaders, and cried and begged. Jessica is a very proud person. She stood outside the office on the 3rd floor. She didn't dare to face her parents inside. With a bang, she jumped out of the 3rd floor window. The ambulance drove into the school. Jessica was rescued, but her lower body was paralyzed. She had no hope of standing up again in her life. Her parents sold their house to solve her debts. Jessica was unwilling to go back to school no matter what. She dropped out directly. Victor also dropped out with her. Jessica and Victor studied hard for so many years and finally got admitted to a 985 university. They could have had a new starting point, but their lives were ruined. What a pity. It was all their own fault. I began to enjoy my university life. I cleared my reputation. Now everyone knows that I am a victim, and there is no more criticism. One day, Darius asked me hesitantly, "Richard, have you ever offered a part-time job?" I looked at him seriously and calmly and said, "If you keep asking, maybe we can't be friends anymore." Darius hesitated and finally fell silent. I never regretted what I did. For people like Jessica, you must not be soft-hearted or soft-handed. Everyone's character weakness is a knife hanging over their head. Jessica's current ending was caused by me, but it was also caused by herself. And I can continue my college life cleanly without any criticism because I am ruthless and can endure.